Hi, my name is Vanessa van Dijk. Now, can you use your salicylic acid exfoliant, also known as BHA, on damp skin? Yes, that's completely fine. Just make sure that you do not confuse damp skin with wet skin, because that's what I can most often see online, and this is what can create several issues. Therefore, I want to share with you a proper application so that you understand the difference between wet skin, damp skin and dry skin, so that you then are making sure that you're going to layer your skincare products in general properly afterwards, so that it's not going to create sensitivity or even skincare peeling or an uncomfortable feeling when it comes to layering your skincare products. Now, I want to keep my main focus towards the cleansing step and then the leave-on exfoliating acid. In that specific case, we're working with salicylic acid, also known as BHA. But then later on, I want to head into another problem which I most often see in my comments as well, and this would be the combination of when working with an exfoliant that you use at first and then follow with a product that contains hyaluronic acid afterwards. So this may be a hyaluronic acid serum or even moisturizer, because then you're going to confuse it because you think that you need to apply a hyaluronic acid product to damp skin, when in fact it does not play a big role because it is already saturated in water. So I want to share with you now the step-by-step application so that you can see it visually, so that you will have a proper application when trying this out at home. Now, of course, we are going to get started with the first step, which is going to be washing your face. This can be done above the sink or in the shower, either way is fine. The most important step would be after your cleansing step before applying your exfoliant, but I'm going to include it so that you can see it like from the beginning towards the end. So when it comes to your cleanser, of course, adjust it depending on what you're trying to remove. So a non-exfoliating acid cleanser, a regular cleanser that's suitable for your skin type. In this case, it would be more suitable for oily skin because you're working with a BHA. Then look for a cleanser that can help you to properly remove any excess oil, dirt, sweat from the skin, or even light makeup or sunscreen. However, if you're wearing stubborn sunscreen and or makeup like minimal sunscreen or pigmented waterproof makeup, work with an oil or balm cleanser in your evening skincare routine. So that you need to adjust it so that you can properly wash your face. Nonetheless, take your cleanser. Please read on the back of the packaging on how you should use it. So if you're using an oil or balm cleanser, those are usually being applied to dry skin and then you're going to rinse it off with water, whereas your regular cleanser that's suitable for your oily skin is most often being applied to wet skin and then you're going to rinse it off with water. So make sure to properly adjust it. Now, as an example, I'm going to use CeraVe's foaming cleanser. Of course, if you have a different one that works well for you, go ahead and exchange it, but you should get the entire point now when I'm doing the demonstration. So I'm going to get started with splashing some water onto my face and neck using lukewarm water. Then I'm using a bit of the cleanser, massaging it all over, and then I'm going to rinse it off with water again. In between, I really like to work with a washcloth, those makeup cloths, those microfiber cloths. Those are extremely soft and gentle on the skin to remove any last traces of the cleanser, sunscreen and or makeup, specifically when doing this above the sink. So let's go ahead and do this. Take about 1 to 2 pumps on the palm of your hand, about that much, more or less. Massage it between your hands and then gently massage it all over your face and neck for about 30 seconds to a minute. So now go ahead and rinse everything properly off the skin using again lukewarm water. Now I'm going to splash some water onto my face and neck to get most of it off, and then I'm going to include the washcloth in between. And now rinse again. So once you have properly rinsed off your cleanser from the skin and you still have the remaining water drops on the skin surface, this now refers to wet skin. So please do not apply your skincare products to wet skin, because this is what's causing more sensitivity and uncomfortable feeling, because when now applying your salicylic acid product to wet skin, it's going to mix with the water, it stays on top of the skin surface, feels uncomfortable on the skin, and it can even create skincare peeling, which is extremely annoying when having those little bits on the skin surface, because it just has dried off and basically everything was like sitting on the skin surface that you're going to rub off. So those are the points that can occur when applying your skincare products to wet skin. Doesn't matter if it's your leave-on exfoliant or if it's any other product that you now would apply, it's just going to create a mess. Please avoid this. So instead, what you can do is now either apply your skincare products to damp skin or dry skin, and this primarily depends on the skincare product that you're using and basically your sensitivity degree of the skin. So one thing that now won't change to get to that point of damp skin or dry skin is now go ahead, take a clean towel and gently remove the remaining water drops on the skin surface by patting all over, because then this is what refers to damp skin. Because while I was washing my face, my skin was able to absorb some water. So all what's left on the skin surface, the water drops that you can see on the skin surface, this refers to wet skin. So it cannot absorb more water than it has already done. So, and once you have properly removed the remaining water drops from the skin surface, this now refers to damp skin. So if you now want to apply your salicylic acid product to damp skin, now would be the time to do so. However, if you have a bit more of a sensitive skin and you feel like, well, whenever you're applying your skincare products to damp skin, specifically when it comes to certain treatments, and then it's going to create more sensitivity, well, then you have now the chance to wait 5 to 10 minutes between your cleansing step and before you're going to apply your leave-on product to the skin, to give it about 5 to 10 minutes so that the skin can start to dry, because the drier the skin gets, the slower the product can absorb into the skin, and therefore it can reduce the likelihood of experiencing sensitivity, or not as much. But of course this overall depends on, in this case, the formulation of your exfoliating acid, the pH and the strength. So this is also something that you have to consider. But this is now going to be damp skin. So if you're now planning on applying a leave-on exfoliant to damp skin, now would be the time. So I have 3 examples right here. I'm going to go with the most popular ones, which would be Polyesters 2% BHA liquid exfoliant. Of course, if you have a different one, go ahead and exchange it. In this case, with this one right here, first of all, don't forget to give it a good shake, and second of all, use between 5 to 8 drops. If you're using more than that, like especially when applying it with your hands, it can feel quite oily on the skin, so that you then need to reduce the amount next time. Otherwise, it can feel uncomfortable on the skin. So I went with 5 drops. I'm going to massage it between my hands, and now I'm going to apply it evenly all over my face and neck. Make sure that you are using enough of product to blend it evenly all over, but at the same time, do not overdo it. It shouldn't sit on the skin surface. It should basically absorb pretty fast into the skin. So that how much you're going to use plays a big role as well. If you're using too much, again, it can feel uncomfortable on the skin, or it can even increase the risk of experiencing sensitivity, because you're just using too much of that specific treatment. So once you have applied it all over, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Now, of course, you can stop right here. You do not have to follow with anything else afterwards, except for sunscreen throughout the day, but that's basically it. But of course, if you have your usual skincare routine that you now would follow on, go ahead and do so. Wait for your BHA, like your salicylic acid product, to fully absorb into the skin, and then move on to the next step. Usually this would be about 30 seconds to a minute when it's a water-based formulation. Now, the other question that I often get referring to working with an exfoliating acid in the same routine would be, well, now if I'm planning on working with my hyaluronic acid serum or moisturizer, it's said that I need to apply to damp skin. So the mistake that I often see and also read in my comments is that you now would grab a mist, or you just would take some water, splash it back onto the skin, because then again you think that you have now dampened the skin, and then apply your hyaluronic acid on top. Now this again can create more issues than necessary, specifically when it comes to the feeling on how it would layers, and that it's going to create skincare pilling. So again, with your hyaluronic acid product, pretty close when it comes to names, I do have some hyaluronic acid serums right here. So they are already saturated in water. The same would apply to a hyaluronic acid moisturizer. So your moisturizer or your hyaluronic acid serums contain already enough water so that the hyaluronic acid is already saturated. So basically it cannot absorb more water than it already has. And so in that specific case, you do not need to now mist your face. You do not need to wet your face again before applying it. First of all, depending on how fast you have done it, like based on the steps, if you have applied it to damp skin, the skin is probably now still damp. If you have waited those 5 to 10 minutes in between before applying your exfoliant, still don't forget, if you're working with a water-based salicylic acid exfoliant, it contains already water. So you're already adding water to the skin. There's no need to add more water to the skin. So it's nonsense to mist your face in between, to wet your face in between again when working with a hyaluronic acid product. Not only because your skin has already some water in it due to the water from the cleansing step or even from your exfoliant, but at the same time your hyaluronic acid is already fully saturated and it does not need more water. And so I do have a bit more of an more specific and detailed video on hyaluronic acid itself as well, which I can leave at the end of this video if you're more interested about that detail. But basically it does not matter if you're applying your hyaluronic acid serum or moisturizer to dry or damp skin. Just make sure that you're not applying it to wet skin. This is the most important part. So I'm not just going to use Vichy's Mineral 89. I'm going to go with like 2 pumps, 1.5 pump, about that much. And then I'm going to evenly apply it on top of the salicylic acid exfoliant. And this way you're making sure that it layers well, your skin has enough water in it, it does not need more water, you're avoiding skincare pilling, and it feels comfortable on the skin. And those are the steps that you can do in between when working with your salicylic acid exfoliant, either on its own or along with your hyaluronic acid product. The same would apply when it comes to hyaluronic acid moisturizer. Use about a pea size to a bean size amount and then apply it evenly on top. And then there you go, there you have it. That's basically the routine, and this is basically understanding the difference between dry skin, damp skin and wet skin. So again, please do not confuse it. So this is what I wanted to share with you. I do hope that you enjoyed this video, that you find it helpful. Again, if you now want to learn more about hyaluronic acid itself, I've done a specific video on it. I'm going to leave it at the end of this video so that you can keep on watching and understand this even further if you're interested. So if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as share it, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye.